Hello, and welcome to another episode of LB Presents Unite on Purpose. And believe it or not, the campaign is about to go live tomorrow at 9 a.m. And so this is my latest interview today before we go live with the campaign. And Andrew Hook has been invited on today to be able to talk with me before he goes and unites on purpose with us tomorrow. So before we introduce him in, the Unite on Purpose is all about joining a quiet revolution and how we are going to shift the world into a new era through the eyes of brands. It's my belief that we can create the face of modern business and the face of the modern world. And so we are all here to join the quiet revolution. And so I've invited Andrew Hook on, who is an absolute legend about humanizing IT and being able to specialize in digital transformation for the Microsoft platform. And Andrew Hook is actually on my L&D program. And so I'm very excited because tomorrow morning we are campaigning together. So thank you for joining me. I believe you're in Cornwall, are you not?
I am, yes, in sunny Cornwall. We've been here for just about 2 weeks. Yeah,
I do love Cornwall. It's so beautiful.
Yes, it's
so
been very good.
Thank you very much for joining me on your holiday. And as you know, we are going to be campaigning tomorrow. So you'll be joining us from Cornwall on the campaign as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
And you've been part of the L&D program now with us we're on the third month of the campaign month. And you joined us on the program. And when you joined us, you said to me, well, I've transitioned my business quite a lot over the program. So could you tell me what your business has been? And then we will discuss around where your business is going in a minute.
Okay. So our business is, well, we bought the business, my business partner and I, 12 years ago. Both of us have been in IT all of our careers and working for various corporates. And then we decided, because both of us wanted to run our own business, that we would orchestrate our own redundancies. I mean, we were in very well paid jobs. We had large families. The pair of us had 4 children each. So we had, a lot of bills to pay, but we just couldn't work in the corporate world anymore. So we decided that we would go out and buy a business and then grow a business, but we would stick within IT and take what we learned from corporate IT and then bring that to SMEs. So that was back in 2008. And then for 7 years, we looked after businesses, we grew the business, but very much in the traditional sort of IT support arena. And then what we figured out was that cloud was going somewhere. So we decided to take the bold move and change our business from a traditional IT support model to a cloud model, which is all about paying on a subscription basis. So no longer clients invest in servers, all the capital expenditure, etc. And we've been doing that for about 4 years now.
So I want to know, you've moved from the corporate world and you've moved into becoming an entrepreneur. And look, I've only ever worked for myself. So I left school at 15 years of age and I've only ever been an entrepreneur my whole life. And I can't imagine what it was like to move from the corporate life and then move into running and owning your own business. So can you tell me about that? What was that like as a business owner?
So it was a very, very bold move, very bold. I'd never run a company before. And when my business partner said to me, do you fancy, leaving and setting up our own business? I said to him at the time, I've always wanted to run my own business, but I don't want to do it in IT because I thought I'd had enough of IT. But what I didn't realize was I'd had enough of corporate, the politics and the slowness, and it was that I wanted to get away from, but I didn't realize. But anyway, we bought an IT business, thank God, because had we have not, one, we wouldn't have known how to run a business, and two, we wouldn't have understood the product. So it was actually the product that kept us going. And then we gradually built up our commercial awareness of running a small business, but also with regards to generating sales. How do you generate sales when you're running an SME? I mean, I started networking. I'd never been networking before, never. And, I started with BNI, learned, my 60 seconds and stood up and did my 60 seconds every week. I then outgrew that. I then joined other networking organizations. But that's how we actually started to generate business, which was all about connecting with people.
So I read on your resume, you love to go and drive like from people to people. And you really do enjoy that whole connecting side of things. And for me, when you say to me, you left the corporate world and you moved into the space and you started networking and you started doing something very different. First off, I want to say, what on earth did your wife say when you said, I'm leaving the corporate world? That's $1 million question I want to ask.
She was in a state of shock. If you go back to 2008, so we bought the business in the July 2008, and then we hit the banking crisis.
Oh.
So we had customers going out of business. We had customers that couldn't pay. How do you generate sales? So it's a bit like the pandemic in a way that we're going through now. So we're going through our second pandemic now because we had our first one in 2008. However, my mother always said to me, if you can get through this, Andrew, you can get through anything. So I think that taught us a lot of lessons. Yeah.
And you just discussed about the whole people and people connection side of things, which you say that you humanize IT, which I would love to know, actually, what does that mean? I come from building businesses, I do. And so, the whole, even though I've built my own technology platform, I'm not by any means an IT specialist. And I would love to know, and I'm sure my viewers would love to know, what on earth does it mean to humanize IT? Is this whole people to people side of things? Is this your connectivity that you love? Tell me what that means.
Well, what it is that a lot of people that run IT businesses are very technical themselves, whereas I'm not that technical. I come more from the business side, but I understand the power and what IT can deliver in the way of efficiencies and cost reductions, etc. I mean, I've been in IT since I was 17, but what I don't do is I don't use the acronyms that frighten people and frighten people away. So it's all about being that translator. So it's like translating from one foreign language back into English, and the other thing is that people are frightened to talk about IT just in case they may look silly. So what you're trying to do is get people to open up and what their problems are, so you can then help them solve those problems, solve those issues. So we don't really see ourselves as an IT company. We see ourselves more as an enabler, more as a consultancy. So that's where the humanizing piece comes from.
And you said you started in IT at the age of 17. That's young to start in IT, because that's really at the beginning of the whole digital side, isn't it? When IT was really starting out. So now I'm intrigued because I want to know, gosh, what would I come from a trends background and I've always spotted consumer trends. And actually, I'm one of those weird people that walks down the street and spotting gaps all the time. And so I'm intrigued now to know, how has the trend changed in the IT world since you were 17 years of age? And what do you see coming forward?
Right. So I've seen massive changes through IT. If you can remember the old James Bond movies with the computer rooms with the tapes, do you remember?
I worked with a very famous James Bond lady, I have to say.
Oh, well, there you go. So I used
to delight.
Oh, really? Really? Well, I used to operate those machines.
Right.
And every instruction we used to give the computer was on an 80-column card with holes in it, and ticker tape. Yeah? That was the technology back then. We used to have big disk drives of like washing machines. The computer rooms were massive.
I remember they were huge. You had to have a whole room for the boxes.
Absolutely. And I also was also a programmer as well. And I used to program all on cards. I used to punch manually on cards, on 80-column cards. Every line of code was a card. So you'd have this big stack of cards you then have to put into the computer. So things have evolved a lot. So I have evolved and reinvented myself. But when I was in the corporate world, I was reinventing myself. Well, when you run a business, you've got to reinvent the whole business, the whole business. Wow. So 4 years ago, we reinvented ourselves again with regards to Microsoft Cloud solutions. But you've got to take the whole company with you, but also you've then got to make sure that your campaigns and how you're seen, is a lot different. But where it's going is that it's going to become a utility. It's nearly there now. So now, as we use gas, electric, water, our computing will be a utility. We won't have to worry about whether it's backed up. We won't have to worry about keeping it updated. We won't have to worry about viruses and cyber attacks and things like that. It'll all be taken care of. We're already seeing, artificial intelligence coming into our lives now. We just won't have to worry about it. And we can now worry more about our businesses, how we're going to take our businesses forward, but not have to worry about the IT. But there's still lots to come, lots.
Right. So you've heard it here first on my show. IT is going to become a utility. That is a trend that is going to take place next. And I have to say, being a trend person, now I want to ask you 100 questions about what do you mean by utility and how does that impact change? So I am going to ask you something that might be a bit left field. Obviously, because the world has moved into conscious consumption, as you will be aware from the talks and so forth, that I do, and people are much more aware about being more conscious around the planet and the environment. How do you think that consciousness can come into IT and the humanization side of that? What do you think could happen on that side of things?
Well, the reason that we chose the Microsoft platform and no other platform, we chose the Microsoft platform because Microsoft had green credentials. They plan to be carbon neutral by 2030. I mean, they're one of the largest organizations in the world. The thing is, if you're using their utility, so you're using their systems, that means you're not buying your own. So what happens when an organization's servers get to end of life? Where do they go? Do they get recycled? I don't know.
That's what I wondered.
But you're using a shared environment, a global shared environment. You've not got your own anymore. So this is what I mean about it's a utility. So, for example, with regards to your gas, unless you're not on the grid, you won't have your own gas bottles that you need to get rid of. You just turn it on. That's where it's going now. So it is going to get greener. Now, the other thing is that they're also looking at where they put this information, these data centers. So some of them are under the sea. So, they're using tide and they're using the sea for cooling. Some of them are up in Iceland in the north where they're already cool. So why try and do this yourself? Why not give it to the experts and then just pay a monthly fee to use it? So, it does have a lot of green credentials.
So I'm going to ask you my key question, Andrew. I think you know what might be coming. I always ask every single person that comes on here, because this is my calling card, what are you known for, Andrew? And then we have a conversation about that.
Right. Okay. So I'd never really thought about before what I was known for until I joined the L&D program, because our strapline had always been humanizing IT. But you taught us to go above that, and not to mention the product, not to mention, well, basically hardly anything. But how can you create intrigue in a sentence? So what I'm known for is engineering a flexible community.
Ooh.
So that's what I'm known for. Yeah.
Okay, Andrew, right. And now I want to ask you all those questions about your purpose. So can you tell me, how did you get to engineering a flexible community? And what does that mean for you? Because, you know, being on a program with me, I do peel back the onion quite a lot, and I am quite a stickler. And you also know that when you come to your purpose, I expect it to be driven through the whole of the business model. So it's not about it just being a marketing strapline, because that's not the models that we do. We build your whole business model out, and we look to increase the valuation. And so that is a very thought out purpose and very considered. And so I'm intrigued to know, could you tell me a bit more about what sits behind that?
Right. Okay. Now, I don't think I would have come up with this unless we had the pandemic, because when the pandemic hit, we look after just over 100 customers. It's about 4,500 people. So when Boris stood up and said we all have to work from home, all of my customers went to work from home. Now, a lot of them who we've transitioned found it quite straightforward. So that's where the flexible piece comes in. So if you are on the right technology, you can be flexible. The other thing is that a lot of businesses felt that they couldn't trust their people to work from home. However, it was forced on us. So I've been trying to encourage flexible working for a long, long time. And I don't feel it's necessary to get on the train and go up to the city every day. I don't think it's necessary to go to the office every day. So with regards to what I have as a product, I can enable that flexibility. I can. Now, the engineering piece is the technical piece, because it's not easy. It's difficult because you can't just transition somebody. You have to understand what they have at the moment. And we've got a whole methodology that we take the organization through to get them to the end game. And there's lots that we have to take with us. It's like moving from a very big house where you've got lots of clutter and you're going to move to a smaller house, but you still need some of those things for reference, but the applications you use and all that sort of thing. So there's a lot of engineering that goes into that, and a lot of time and a lot of consulting. Now, the community piece.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, the community piece is the people that we've transitioned that then speak about how happy they are. And when we do installations, we do happy factor at the end. What was it like before? What was it like at the end? And they do this happy factor. But gradually, you build up this community of people that say, this is how IT should work. It should have always worked this way, but it never did. It never did. And it's only now that it's actually delivering. So I'm all about engineering a flexible community, but making people happy, because IT is so frustrating when it doesn't work. It's so frustrating. And I had 4,500 people working from home. Majority of them were okay, but other businesses that we don't look after, some of the stories were horrendous. How people couldn't log on from home, or there was a rota system where only 50 people could log on at one time, and things like that. That's not right.
So tell me, I absolutely love that. And do you know the other thing that I absolutely love that you've just done? You have articulated every single word and why you've specifically chosen that word, which I know is what we teach on the program. However, you have architected that so lovely, because you've really considered the side of the engineering side, which is potentially the harder kind of science side, as I would call it, and then you've also put the humanizing side in with the community and the flexible side, and you've really been able to bridge the IT and the people at the same time. So really well done on that. Could you tell me about your customer then, so I can get an understanding of that? Because you said, you said you've got 100 customers, 4,500 people. So I'm presuming they're large organizations or even corporates that you potentially work with.
No, we're very SME. I mean,
Right.
Probably the largest organization we'd look after would be about 250 people.
Okay.
We go from 1 to 250 because we have a solution for everybody. but mainly our customers are office-based customers. So they're people sitting at screens, sitting behind a desk. But I think with the pandemic and then being able to work from home, they've seen that there's another life to go into work every day. And if I can enable the technology for them to be able to be flexible, I mean, for example, they could work on the beach. Yeah. I mean, I can work on the beach.
You wouldn't want to be working on the beach.
Why can't we work anywhere? Why can't we work anywhere? Yeah. So.
And it's interesting, you know, obviously we've been talking about this and saying, and I've been saying to people about, you know, habits have changed. So in a brand space, it's the hardest thing to do to change somebody's habit, because when you change somebody's habit, you in a brand world, like Apple got you to swipe rather than type, they change somebody's habit. And that's when you create the biggest brand loyalty. That's pretty expensive to do. Then a pandemic hits and all of a sudden habit changes are taking place everywhere. And one of the biggest habit changes is people are working from home. And older people that were so scared of technology, that were terrified of switching on a computer and how do you use Zoom, what even is Zoom, and webinars and so forth. Now everybody's now jumping on computers. And it's incredible because hopefully it will stop the whole everybody having to jump on a plane or get in a car or go on a train. So there's a piece for me that that interests me around your sentence, engineering a flexible community. Yes, there's the IT space, which is your business layer. And you heard me, did you hear me do this for you on the webinar? And I did the business layer, the industry layer, the family layer, the society layer.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so Andrew, I'm interested because I feel there's another layer that goes above your IT layer that you potentially are passionate about with this engineering a flexible community. And I feel on a if I said, what would it be in a family space for you? What might you say?
In a family space, I mean, I go back to my corporate career and I go back to all of the traveling I did, the flights, etc. And I didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy it at all. I mean, my children, didn't spend as much time as I would like. But I suppose at a family level, I'm not sure what the word is, but I don't want the world to go back to that. And then with regards to the pandemic, and I suppose it sounds a bit bad, but I was hoping it would last long enough for the habits to change.
Yeah.
It takes about 10 weeks, 12 weeks.
It's 3 months. Normally it's 3 months and you have a proper habit change.
Yeah. So what it is for me is to allow that. It comes back to the happiness factor, but not to be tied to work. Yeah, that you can get your work done, but you can still have time with your family. Yeah.
So that's perfect. So enjoying time with the family on a family level. If I said to you now, Andrew, engineering a flexible community for the industry, what would you say?
For the industry?
Yeah, for the world of IT, for the world of digital, what would you say if you're now engineering a flexible community? Maybe it's something about the trends that you just talked about and the future and this whole utility space and the green side of things.
Yeah, you can probably tell that I'm quite enthusiastic about what is happening. I'm really engaged. 4 years ago, I was getting really bored with IT. It wasn't going anywhere. And what's actually started to happen now with innovation, it excites me. And I think it also, what it does, it excites the people within the industry. So the people that we employ now are those that want to drive that innovation and are also excited about it. And it's not knowing what's coming next. I think that's what it is for the industry.
Yeah, I do. Okay. And for society, what would you want to now do for society and how would you now do that? Is there a piece that you might want to do for society?
For society, does green credentials come under society?
Yeah, green credentials, absolutely.
So I think it's green credentials really. There's a lot of old server tin out there that needs to be got rid of and not replaced. It mustn't be replaced. Also, it's giving companies the opportunity not to renew leases on their offices. So they're now looking at more flexible working. I think that's what it does for society. It just changes the status quo.
Okay, my last question. But before I ask you this last question, Andrew, hang on. In my bag.
Yeah.
I'm chucking this over to you. Hang on. This is my Unite on Purpose bag. As you know, you've got one, and we're all about to campaign with it tomorrow. I'm giving you my bag. Hang on. There you go. Have you got it?
Yeah, I got it. Thank you.
Oh, great.
Yeah, got it there.
Great. Good. Right. Inside that bag, Boris has given me the keys to the whole of the UK, and you've now can do anything you want today because it's Unite on Purpose Day. What are you going to do?
Right. What I'm going to do, okay, and it all goes back to the flexible piece, and it all goes back to the fact that IT now works, and so you're not going to be delayed by, poor response, that sort of thing. We're not going to be traveling to and from offices, etc. So what I want to do is I want to instigate a 4-day week.
Woohoo!
4-day week.
Yes.
I mean, whenever we have a bank holiday, we feel rested, don't we? Yeah. But a weekend is just too short. So
I am letting you have those keys, Andrew. We are battling them off. We are. And we've talked about that often, actually, on a serious note. And when the pandemic hit for Bob, we actually said to the team, take Friday morning off. I know it doesn't happen every week and people do have meetings and so forth. But in our business, we actually instigated during the pandemic and actually beyond, if people want to have a Friday morning off, then have the Friday morning off and just start work at 1 o'clock and just then do a few hours in the afternoon. And for me, I'm in your headspace, actually more time being able to rest and have some family time means better efficiency that you have and actually more fun you have in the workplace.
Absolutely.
So before we wrap up, I've got one last question.
I thought that was it.
No. One more. Engineering a flexible community for the world. We went up all to the layers and you heard Darren say, now I'm at the top. What would you do for the world?
Well, could we make the whole world be a 4-day week? Yeah.
Great.
The whole world is a 4-day week.
The whole world is a 4-day week. Wonderful. Okay. So, Andrew, you need to get some rest because you're going to get up in the morning. How are you finding the Unite on Purpose campaign and doing this for your business? Have you been managing to instigate stuff into the business for yourself?
Yes, we have. I mean, I've been following all of the different workshops. I've done the video, getting ready for tomorrow. Invited a few of the team members along. It should be great. Really looking forward to it. Looking forward.
Fantastic. Well, I am very excited to have you on board tomorrow. I'm very excited to meet your team. There's quite a few people that are bringing their team on. For the viewers that are watching this that are on the program, then remember to bring your team. For the viewers that are not on the program, you are also invited to come and unite on purpose with us because there will be, as Andrew knows, 144 businesses that are going to get together along with their team members. And at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, if you jump onto my Lindsay Boyd LinkedIn, you will be able to share the LinkedIn post and kick off the Unite on Purpose campaign. And remember, if you know, it is a Help 100 campaign. So if you know of any businesses that are in real dire straits, that are struggling like mad through the pandemic, and they really need support, or there are businesses in developed or developing countries or areas in the UK that are underprivileged that would never be able to come onto the program, then please let us know because we are supplying the DNA of our program to be able to let people come on a program and be able to remodel their business. Thank you so much, Andrew, for spending time with me when you are on your holiday. And also you're going to be on your holiday when you're going to be uniting on purpose tomorrow. So thank you so much. And I'm very excited to share the morning with you.
No, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so I will be spinning around on the globe, as you know, in the Facebook group, Bob Earth Facebook group. Come and join me and say hello, or come onto the bobearth.com platform, the technology platform, where I will make you a founding citizen of the earth, and you can either come and enjoy some homeschooling with me, your Bob Earth teacher, or some of the other people that teach on the program. And if you fancy it, then we run a webinar every single Tuesday at 9 o'clock. And next week is the 20th webinar that we will be running before we break for the summer. And then we will be back mid-September with the webinars. It's my time again. It's 6:30. But remember to come and join me tomorrow, because I have another exciting interview. So please don't miss it. And shh. Join the quiet revolution.